It's the Horsham District Footy Report with the Jeparit Rainbow Storm. Well, he was a legend until last week when he wasn't in the side and another legend popped up in his place. Big Peter Weir joins us. G'day, Weary. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Wayne. And it was great to read the results on the weekend and see Ash Clugston's done it again and booted a lazy bag of 8 goals.
Yeah, he's put his hand up, and word around the club is that you were out with a little niggle, but it might be that the twos is where you'll be coming back through.
You've been asking me this question for a few years, so man, I think every time you ask it, you're getting closer to the answer you want, but I think I'm back in the seniors this week, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll wait and see. Let's have a look at the other results before we get to the Storm report. And what about the Rapanyup side? They bounced back after a bit of an indifferent start. 21-12, 138 to Pimpernio, 11-10-76. You did say last week that this would be a real test for Clint Burdett's young Tigers, and it certainly turned out that way against the powerful Panthers.
Yeah, well, Clint led from the front with the best on-ground performance. But, yeah, Jack Musgrove, the Rapanyup Premiership coach, back in the team with 7 goals up front, and a young star in the comp, Connor Wiedemann, led the way for the Rapanyup team.
And an easy win for Harrow Balmoral, as we predicted. 30 goals, 23 to Taylor's Lake. 1 goal, 1. The wheels have fallen off at the Lake. And I thought it was interesting, in a score of 30 goals, how many players actually kicked a goal for the Harrow Balmoral side. Leading scorer, James Stouty, 6 out of 30, was their leading goal kicker.
Yeah, great signs for Harrow in that sort of game. You'd expect Stouty to have kicked 12 or 14 goals, but for them to have a great spread of goal kickers will be something their new coach will be very pleased with. And, yeah, for a Taylor's Lake team, it's just time to move on to the next week.
I think I might have called this, Weary. Conively, or the Cougars have arrived. They've beaten the Keys for the first time, 13-6-84 to 9-14-68 at Conniva. And they're starting to mount a challenge, these blue, white and green boys.
Yeah, without a doubt, and no doubt their best win since they've been in the Horsham District competition. Flowman, they'd be really wrapped with that, and they gave up a 6 or 7 goal head start to Kalkee, and I think they overrun them in the last quarter with a 7-goal last quarter, so it would have been great times at the Conniva Club Rooms on Saturday night, and would have well and truly enjoyed that win against Kalkee.
And Edenham Hapsley in a low score, 9-9-63 to Laharam, 3-10-28. I saw some photographs of this game, and amazing, the Grampians in the background of the Laharam Oval.
Yeah, it is a great place to play footy, man. The views are awesome, but the problem is 8 times out of 10 you go down there, it is quite cold and windy, but it looks like they got not a bad day for the work-safe match of the round.
It was, and then we look at Narrandera Quantong, too good for the Swifts, 16-15 to 10-7. But I'll get to this now. It was the Jeparit Rainbow Storm, 21-16, 142 over Nadimak, 11-15-81. It was even at the quarter time, but after that, the Rainbow Recreation Reserve rocked with the big club from the Storm taking it, and the big man up forward in Ash Clugston kicking bags of goals.
Yeah, he loves to do it against Nadimak. I think a few years ago, Flowman, he might have got a bag of 14 or 15 against him, so he always plays well against Nadimak. And, yeah, the Rainbow Oval's in great condition at the moment, so it would have been a great feel out on the ground. And Nadimak challenged the boys early, but, after that, as we have been able to do most games this year, we found our feet and run away with a really good win at home.
Yep, certainly is. They're having a look at the reserve grade. You got nailed. Is there a depth issue with the club, given that Nadimak have beaten you 17-22? That's 39 scoring shots to 1 goal for. And Jeparit Rainbow have traditionally had a pretty good reserve side. So has that changed this year?
Unfortunately, we've just had a large number of outs for a couple of weeks this week, for a couple of games this year, Flowman, but I think it'll resettle again this weekend. And, yeah, just to get a team out on the field was the main aim last weekend, and the scoreboard was sort of irrelevant. But, yeah, a good win by the Nadimak boys. Okay, I was watching this the quarter-by-quarter scores as they got posted through, and I was getting excited about the 17s. I thought, gee, you little beauty, they're going to beat Nadimak. It was 6-4 to 3-13 at three-quarter time. But something changed in the last quarter, and home came the Sheep Paddockers to win 6-15 to Jeparit Rainbow, 7 goals, 6 in a 3-point thriller. Yeah, very disappointing to end up losing this game, but yeah, a great little contest in the under-17s, and a young leader, Will Fisher's doing a great job, and you always want your good players playing well in those tight games. And yeah, I see Marcel Badul kicked a couple of goals, but it'd be good to see a few more out of him as the season goes on, Flowman.
It will be, and Jamie Eckerman, a couple, Xavier Evans, Bailey Mason, Parker Gould and Joshua Schultz also were doing some good things in the footy side of it. Lenny Weir, Willem Fisher and Dustin Eckerman added a goal too in the score sheet. And over to the 14s. Now, this is something really, really interesting because mercy rule is something that comes along, and usually over the years the Jeparit Rainbow Storm boys have felt the ire of this particular rule. But this time around, they kicked 9 goals, 4 in the first quarter, and in the second quarter, after about a minute, it was mercy rule time.
Yeah, it couldn't have been more impressive, the under-14 boys, and they've been working into a win like this, Flowman, so it's great to see them kick-start the day with a great win, and Fletcher Keller got the boys rolling in the centre of the ground and put in a best-on-ground performance.
And Ryder Gould, Maxi Spokes, Lenny Weir, Dustin Eckerman and Jasper Bingham also got mobile. Ryder Gould 4, Fletcher Keller 4, Lenny Weir 3, 1 each to Jasper Bingham, Hugo Gould, Caleb Heinrich, Flynn Hudson and Clancy Weir. What a performance. Okay, you've been watching the netball girls. I know that you weren't able to be there this last time, but apparently there's some wins on the board at the moment for the girls in the Storm.
Yeah, after a tough start, Flowman, they were zipping 2, but they've been able to equal the ledger now, and they're 2 games apiece after a great win against Natty Muck, and Natty Muck have always had a strong A-grade outfit, so it's always a good win to get over the top of those girls.
Okay, we're heading to the big night at Jeparit this week. It's a home game. You get 2 home games in a row. That's nice. And apparently they're going round the world with Weir.
Yeah, I think it's a new way of footy clubs trying to get their players to stay at home and not worry about any overseas trips, Flowman. So you get to go to a few different countries without leaving the Jeparit Rainbow club rooms on the weekend. So it's always a fun night, and on the back of a successful quiz night, I'm sure it'll be a good night at Jeparit on Saturday.
All right, get your tickets and go around the world, dress up and everything too if you have got some national colours that you want to wear for the destination that you'd like to go to. There's a destination for Narrandera Quantong. It's the Pimpanayo Oval on that Western Highway. It's a big match here for the Tigers. They take on the Bombers in a traditional rivals.
Yeah, I think we saw last weekend the Bombers are pushing to another top 3 finish, Flowman. I think that'll hold them in good stead, and I think they'll be too good for Pimpanayo.
Our match of the round here, I think, Eden Apsley at home down there at the Saints, the Cauldron. It'll be cold down that way, and the Rapania barley growers, they will be looking to go down there and snatch a win, but I reckon this could go either way.
Yeah, Eden Hope are looking stronger every week, Flowman, and the Rupp boys haven't travelled well this year with a loss to Stall and then that draw against Natty Muck, so I think I'll go with Eden Hope in an upset on their home deck.
Well, the Keys need a win, and this is the red and blue clash, and Kalkee host at the Harem.
Yeah, very unlike Kalkee, but I think their coach will just be looking for a 4-quarter performance this weekend, and I think if they do that, they'll be too good for the Harem.
The moment of truth arrives for a blue, white and green side because they meet a blue and white side at Harrow. The Cougars, what can they offer?
Well, they're going to take a lot of confidence into this game coming off the great win last weekend. But as we know, Harrow are the benchmark, and they'll soon find out their strengths and weaknesses as a group and as a club. But I think, the Harrow boys will be too good, but the Canova team will take plenty out of it.
The bidding has been up and down for those that sell sheep, and I reckon that's been the season for the sheep paddockers out at Nattymark. And home on the showground, they host the Swifts, who I think could be just too good for them.
Yeah, I think so. The Stall boys have actually got Sean Grigg, Flowman, who played a lot of footy at Richmond and a couple of premierships there as a ruckman, even though he was only a midfielder size. So I don't think he'll be packing the shin pads to play against Natty Muck on the weekend, but I think he'll be a great addition to the Stall outfit. And with him playing, I think that'll be enough to get the Stall boys over the line.
Okay, it's if Weir doesn't get you this week, Clugston will, as the Jeparit Rainbow Storm take on the lowly Taylors Lake. I can see a very big score on the horizon, but you can't get that into your mind early. You have to play the game.
No, you never take Taylors Lake lightly, Flowman, and I think they'll bring a lot of energy early to the contest at Jeparit on the weekend. But, apart from 1 quarter against Harrow, it's been a great start to the season from the Jeparit Rainbow team, and I expect if we can build on that, we'll run away with a pretty good win at home.
Yeah, I reckon these young locals are going to be the ones to watch this weekend. The Zachary Peaches, the Murphy Leaches, the Louis Coxes, the Xavier Oakleys. These are the kids that we've watched come through the junior ranks and now playing senior football. So it's going to be great to see them in a competition where we're seeing them getting in the better players now, Weary.
Yeah, it is great. And while the grounds are still pretty dry, Flowman, we haven't had a rain, which isn't ideal for the farmers. But a few of those younger, lighter bodies can really come into it now before we hit the heavy conditions of winter. So it's a good chance for them to show their skills while they still can.
Let's go to the reserves. Can you win in the reserves over Taylor's Lake?
A few chances to win a game this season, and this will be one of them, Flowman. So I'll pick the boys to win.
All right, and into the 17-year-olds after the disappointment of last week, was there a bit of energy on the track?
Well, unfortunately, with the under-17s, the Taylor's Lake boys have forfeited Flowman. So the only junior game, which will be great for the under-14s because they'll get the bit later time slot, will be the under-14 game.
Yeah, okay, that's a disappointment for the 17s because you want to back up after a close loss like that and put something on the board of significance. But unfortunately, that's the way it's worked out for the Jeparit Rainbow 17s. Well, Weary, I'm looking forward to seeing a big number of goals against your name, but I think Cluggo and you might have a shootout. We'll wait and see who wins it and then who brags on their round the world trip on Saturday night at Jeparit.
Yeah, hopefully he lets me back down there, Flowman, but I'm sure he will. We've played a lot of footy together now, and it's always great fun to have him in the forward line.
Good stuff. Big Peter Weir, good to have you on board the Jeparit Rainbow Storm report in the Horsham District Footy and Netball League.
Thanks, Wayne.